The cool marble of the Senate House offered no comfort. Senators who had carved an empire from the known world with iron will and sharper steel spoke in hushed, urgent tones. Their voices, usually booming with the confidence of conquerors, were strained with an unfamiliar anxiety. They did not speak of barbarian hordes or rival generals and marching legions. The source of their dread was singular, a presence haunting political discourse like a phantom. It was the name of a woman, a queen from a sun-drenched ancient land. They imagined her arrival not with armor but cloaked in silk and mystery. Her barge a floating palace gliding up the Tiber. Gold sails, purple sails. Rome's history was written in the blood of its enemies. For centuries, its legions had marched relentlessly across continents, their eagle standards casting long shadows over defeated peoples. The Republic had grown from a small city-state into a sprawling empire by perfecting the art of organized warfare. Its enemies were legendary, formidable kings, brilliant generals. There was Pyrrhus of Epirus. He brought his elephants, disciplined Greek soldiers to Italian soil, winning battles so costly they gave birth to the term Pyrrhic victory. Rome absorbed the blows, learned from its mistakes, and ultimately drove him from their lands, proving its resilience even in the face of tactical genius. Then came Hannibal Barca of Carthage, Rome's most dreaded adversary. He crossed the frozen Alps with his army, and at Cannae annihilated a massive Roman force. For over a decade, he terrorized Italy, a constant specter of destruction. Yet, Rome did not break. It refused to negotiate, raised new legions, and took the fight to Carthage, forcing Hannibal's recall and ultimate defeat. Mithridates VI of Pontus built a vast Black Sea empire and resisted Roman power for decades, wily, resourceful, a student of poisons. Rome sent its best generals, including Sulla and Pompey the Great, to fight him. The wars were long, brutal, complex, yet he was cornered and defeated, his kingdom dismantled and absorbed. While Roman power was forged in the heat of the legionary's furnace, Cleopatra's strength was cultivated in a different environment entirely. Her capital, Alexandria, was not a grim military camp. It was the intellectual and cultural jewel of the Mediterranean world. Its great library was a repository of human knowledge. Its harbors teemed with ships from as far as India. Its palaces were centers of scholarship, art, and sophisticated political maneuvering. This was the source of Cleopatra's power. She did not command legions on the scale of Rome, nor did she have a tradition of world conquest. Her weapons were her intellect, her charisma, and her profound understanding of the intricate dance of power. Cleopatra's mind was her most formidable asset. Unlike many rulers, she was a true polymath, educated in mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. Most critically, she was a gifted linguist. Plutarch tells us that Cleopatra spoke numerous languages. She could converse with Ethiopians, Hebrews, Arabs, Syrians, Medes, and Parthians in their native tongues. This ability was not merely academic, it was a powerful diplomatic tool. Her charm was legendary in intellectual magnetism, a voice so enchanting that it was a pleasure just to hear her speak. She knew how to read a room, tailor her arguments, and deploy wit, intelligence, and flattery with surgical accuracy. The first true collision of Cleopatra's world with Rome's came in the person of Gaius Julius Caesar. He was not just any Roman, he was Rome's most brilliant general, a celebrated statesman, and a man of boundless ambition. When Caesar arrived in Egypt in 48 BCE, pursuing Pompey, he found a kingdom at war between Cleopatra and her brother. Knowing the palace was controlled by her brother's forces, she had herself secretly smuggled to Caesar, famously within a carpet or bedding sack, according to the historians. Unrolled at the feet of the most powerful man in the world, she made an unforgettable first impression. This was not a plea for help. It was a calculated political move. By gaining a personal audience, she bypassed her rivals and presented her case directly. Caesar, a man who admired audacity and intellect, was captivated. They became lovers, but their relationship was a political and strategic alliance. Cleopatra offered the vast wealth of Egypt to fund his wars and consolidate his power. In return, Caesar defeated her brother's forces and secured her position as sole ruler of Egypt. The most dangerous outcome for Rome was the birth of their son Ptolemy XV, better known as Caesarion or Little Caesar. The child represented a terrifying fusion of two worlds. As Caesar moved toward absolute power, taking titles like dictator in perpetuity, senators feared he would declare himself king. The threat became tangible when Cleopatra and Caesarion visited Rome. She resided in one of Caesar's villas, holding court like a visiting monarch. The idea that this boy could claim his father's legacy was anathema, fueling conspirators who would assassinate Caesar on the Ides of March in 44 BCE. After Caesar's death, the Roman world was thrown into turmoil. It coalesced around two powerful figures: Octavian Caesar's adopted son, ruler of the West; Mark Antony Caesar's loyal general, commander of the East. Antony needed funds to invade Parthia, so he summoned Cleopatra to Tarsus to answer for her loyalties. Her arrival was political theater. She sailed up the Cydnus in a magnificent barge, purple sails billowing, silver oars keeping time to flutes and lyres. Appearing as Venus and surrounded by attendants, she meant to awe and enchant. And it worked. Antony was utterly captivated. Their bond was both a passionate love affair and a geopolitical partnership, Egypt's wealth for Rome's arms. Antony lived in opulence at Alexandria. Octavian broadcast this to Rome as proof of moral decay and betrayal. In 34 BCE, the donations of Alexandria, Antony and Cleopatra on golden thrones, Caesarion declared Caesar's true son and heir. Antony distributed eastern territories: Armenia, Parthia, Cyrenaica, Libya, Syria, Cilicia, to their children, and hailed Cleopatra as Queen of Kings. From Rome, it looked like Antony was carving up the empire, creating a rival eastern power with Alexandria as its capital and Cleopatra supreme. Octavian seized on it, portraying Antony as a traitor and Cleopatra as a malevolent foreign sorceress. The alliance crystallized Roman anxiety into three core, overlapping fears that Octavian expertly manipulated. First, the creation of a united and hostile East. Rome's strength relied on divide and conquer. Cleopatra, backed by Antony's legions and her immense wealth, threatened to reverse this. She could unite Hellenistic kingdoms into a cohesive bloc, cut Rome off from Egypt's vital grain and eastern trade, and cripple its economy. Second, the cultural misogynistic terror of a powerful foreign woman influencing Roman affairs. Roman society was patriarchal. Cleopatra held absolute power, did not defer to men, and used intelligence and sexuality as instruments of statecraft. Propaganda painted her a decadent, power-hungry seductress, the fatale monstrum bewitching noble Roman men. The conflict became a patriotic war against a corrupting foreign influence. Third, a succession crisis and the end of the Republic. Caesarion, proclaimed true heir, signaled hereditary monarchy. The image of king and queen with royal children was Rome's nightmare. Octavian posed as defender of tradition. He had Antony's will read, minted coins of liberty versus Egypt, and spread tales of Antony's debauchery and subservience. By weaving fears of a rival empire, a powerful woman, and monarchy, he united Rome for a war over its very soul. The war of words led to war at sea. With Rome whipped into frenzy, Octavian declared war not on Antony, but on Cleopatra. In 31 BCE, Antony and Cleopatra's fleets met Octavian's navy under Marcus Agrippa off Actium. The battle sprawled into chaos, ramming, grappling, missile fire. Then, for reasons still debated, Cleopatra's squadron of 60 ships broke from the fight and sailed away. Seeing her leave, Antony abandoned his flagship to follow. Morale collapsed. Leaderless, the fleet was surrounded, destroyed, forced to surrender. Actium was decisive. The defeated lovers fled to Alexandria. Octavian, now master of Rome, pursued relentlessly. Hearing a false report that Cleopatra had died, Antony fell on his sword. Mortally wounded, he was carried to her and died in her arms. Left alone, Cleopatra tried to secure the kingdom for her children. Octavian was unyielding. He intended to parade her in his triumph, Rome's ultimate display of dominance. For Cleopatra, such humiliation was worse than death. According to legend, she had an asp symbol of divinity smuggled in a basket of figs. She died in royal robes, a queen to the end, denying Octavian his ultimate prize. With Cleopatra's death, the wars ended. Octavian Augustus ruled alone, and Egypt's wealth flowed to Rome. Yet Rome's fear of Cleopatra did not die. Horace, Virgil, and imperial art cast her as the ultimate foreign other Eastern luxury versus Roman austerity, seduction versus virtue, monarchy versus liberty. Kings with armies were simple threats. Cleopatra's power was different. She wielded influence, intelligence, and wealth to turn Rome's greatest men against the state. She nearly tore the empire in two by exploiting Rome's fractures. Her battlefield was the minds of men. Her weapons were words and alliances. The greatest threats come not from a sword, but from a whisper. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.